Let's continue on as we do each and every week. We look at the power rankings, brought to you by Ernest EJ Crispin.
He wasn't here last week. I boycott dancing.
Oh, you see, I'm swaying like the ocean because Miami's the game we should have picked.
All right, we look at our top 10 and our bottom 5 in the National Football League each week. We will start with EJ's picks and EJ's picks alone. So if you're looking at the screen, we'll be looking at the right side of the screen with EJ's bottom 5. EJ, who is in your bottom 5?
I'm going to do the best I can, not crack my voice here. 32, the Titans. 31, the G-Men. 30, the Jaguars. 29, the Panthers. 28, the Jets. But again, you can put like another 6 teams down here.
I was going to say, I don't even. There's really no need to spend a lot of time on this now until we bring up the other graphic because the 5 teams that are in your bottom 5 are among the 5 shittiest teams.
Yeah, congratulations.
So there's others there. We'll talk about them in a second. We'll discuss that later. EJ, who is your top 10?
Top 10. Here we go. Number 10, the Cardinals. Number 9, the Texans. 8, Chargers. Damn. 7 Packers, 6 Ravens, 5 Steelers, 4 Chiefs, 3 Eagles, 2 Bills, 1 Man Cam on the Lions.
I for one am shocked.
Can I just say it to get it out of the way?
Go ahead.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Of course. What's wrong, Kyle?
Second consecutive week that the damn Vikings are out of the top 10. That's fucking adorable. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Didn't he just like them in the previous segment?
Oh, they got good optics. Apparently, they don't have top 10 optics.
He did.
Jesus fucking Christ! What are we? This is like, what are we doing here? Anyways, that being said, I like you rewarding the Steelers. I like you remembering that the Packers are in the fucking league. That's nice. I don't know that I'm ready to put them ahead of the Chargers right now. The Texans, if they're in the top 10, they're not. Should currently be beneath the Cardinals.
I think the Texans are the weird spot here.
Yeah, they're going to be a 2-2 team.
Otherwise.
I mean, how are the Vikings not ahead of the Packers? Didn't they fucking beat them?
There's that.
That's not always the case for my list either, though. Sometimes it's like who's playing the best.
Just put them in the
right
top
now.
10.
Yeah, let's put them up.
If I could over again, honestly, I'd take out the Texans and put in the Vikings.
Or you could have just fucking done that and gotten it right.
Well, then do it. So fuck it. Get over it.
Peer pressure works.
That works.
I, for one, am shocked. I don't even know if it's pleasantly by the fact that you've actually put the Chiefs at 4.
Yeah.
That actually surprises me, especially because it was a close loss to now your number 2 team. So I am actually shocked that because you had them at 2, so you dropped them 2 spots. Is it so? Let me ask a question in regards to the Chiefs dropping to 4. Is that rewarding the Eagles for beating the Commanders as well?
Yeah, and a couple of things. That plus they're getting better. The issues we have. They were what 2-2 for the bye, Sean.
Yeah, I think that checks out. I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, we lost early. Right. We won 6 in a row.
There we go. So I mean, right there, and all issues that we have with them at 2-2 that we all said were within fixable issues. They've seemingly so far have fixed.
Okay.
So
looking at it, EJ, I have the same. I mean, I think the top 4 is going to be very similar for most lists, but looking at the Eagles 3, which I almost did, I think I like your Eagles 3, Chiefs 4 better than than what I think I like the Eagles there. I'm one, it appeases my team, but also I think you're right. I think when you're looking at who's playing the better football, not wins and losses, and not like historically, and like the Eagles are healthy right now. Knock on wood. AJ, they're undefeated when AJ Brown's on the field. That defense is playing lights out. The linebackers have finally come to play. I wish I'd switched them. I think I'm on Team EJ in the top 5. I think my top 5 should match yours, but it doesn't.
3 feels high for the Eagles, but I'm not going to start a war over it. I mean, to your point, hey, listen, 6 wins, impressive. You're rewarding them. Not even mad. I could debate that some of them aren't necessarily awesome wins, but everybody
the Browns game, of course, and
yeah. Well, you're kind of doing that with the Chargers. The Chargers just winning a bunch of games, and you're like,
hey, listen, who's been critical of the Chargers schedule on this show?
Isn't that what this list is? A reward?
Yeah,
in a way.
That's why I said I'm not
now.
Again, that's why I said I'm not mad at it. What I would do to really mess with things is I would put the Steelers at 3 or 4 because the Eagles are 3 because of them beating down the Red Tails the previous week.
And like and I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't necessarily like it, but it also happened, like, the Chiefs have had some of their struggles. This was the first time they actually lost a game. It was a kind of a close-ish loss. Like they had a chance to come back and score. I think the game was a little bit more in the Bills' favor than the final score does show. But it also happened on a week where the Eagles pretty handily beat a team that was in most of our top 10s last week. So it was a good win for the Eagles. It was a loss for the Chiefs. So again, if you want to, I didn't do it. I'm not mad at EJ for doing it.
Well, and if
I'm just shocked that he did it, because I figured he would have still had the Chiefs at 1.
And EJ, correct me if I'm wrong here. I feel like you're punishing the Chiefs a little bit for escaping the Broncos the way that they did, because they all lost.
It's a loss compounded with like the performance.
Let me finish the sentence so that everybody home knows what I'm talking about. Because they lost that game, if it weren't for a blocked fucking punt at the end, right? So
field goal.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Sorry. So yeah, I think you're putting 2 weeks of punishment here to put them forth, and I fucking like it.
And you'd be correct on that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong there. Sean, I think the only thing that kind of surprised me really on your list was how high the Chargers are.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, they are definitely
Homer.
They are definitely one of the more surprising teams this year, in how quick the turnaround is. And when you look at like a defense that struggled to stop anybody, an offense that failed to really get moving in years past, and just a team that didn't have an identity, all of those things are now, we know what the Chargers' identity is.
We think they are?
And they're staying healthy, knock on wood, for the most part as well. I mean, I think getting rid of Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen are a big factor in that as well. But like, you know what I mean? Like they have a receiving core that at the beginning of the year we're going, who the fuck are these people? And all of a sudden we know who the fuck Ladd McConkey is, right? Like it's wild what 11 weeks will do. I don't hate it. Obviously, I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy.
Homer.
But yeah, 6. I was surprised to see them up at 6.
Can we explain the irony that the Niner fan just called Jim a homer, right? For liking Jim Harbaugh?
Right? Isn't that wild?
Let me do this too. My favorite here is actually Mike Byrne. Okay. Being the brave man, doing 2 things.
Oh, my mic was off. I was trying to retort. My bad.
Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Chargers. I was literally, since we were on my Chargers list, I think the big thing for me is that is it going to hold? I don't know. It sure looks like it. I think it's been a perfect storm. I think you have the coordinators that are in place and the head coach that's in place and the players that left. You brought in a motivator in a Harbaugh and a players coach in a Harbaugh, and you made the team younger. You took away kind of the old heads that might not work for, and you used it to get talent that it will work for. And now you have a good defensive coach coaching a defense, and you have a good offensive-minded coach coaching an offense. And it shows, and each coach was allowed to get the pieces they wanted. And now they're starting to mesh. And a defense that at one time was very good and fell to kind of pretty good is now looking borderline great. They're stopping teams from scoring, and now they're starting to add points on their own side on top of it. So I like where the trend is going. Could I see this team slipping a bit? Maybe, but I also think they're the biggest trap for the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West.
They do. 2 out of their next 3 games are going to be where we find out a little bit more about them. They passed
Have
the first
played
test.
The Chiefs yet or no?
They lost to the Chiefs in week 4, 17-10.
Then I guarantee a win against Kansas City for the Chargers.
Yeah. So
Oh,
and
shit.
and that game will be in Kansas City. So this week they play
Kansas City.
Yeah, this week they play Baltimore. Next week they play the Fraud Cons. Yeah, that name's back. And then the following week they go to Kansas City. After that they have Tampa Bay, Denver, New England, Las Vegas. So if LA can get through these next 3 weeks,
I think that's loss win-win. If I was going to call them,
okay, yeah, I mean, win-win. And you know, so you win 2 out of these 3. You should definitely, you know, get through that last 4. You should definitely be a playoff team, really, at that point.
And the other thing I like about the Chargers is it's a two-handed punch. So, like, you know, the whole, like, well, if people still want to believe the football players can't play in cold weather because they practice in warm weather or whatever the nonsense, if you get into a true cold weather game in the playoffs or a cold weather game in Kansas City, this team's not afraid to run the ball either. No. And now you have Edwards healthy behind.
So you have running backs that have played in the cold.
Yeah, and to have Dobbins and now to have Edwards healthy behind him, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they use McConkey and some of those guys in some running formations. I think this team is built to kind of hit you both ways if they have to.
Yeah. But Kyle, you were saying about Mike with
thanks for letting me chime back in.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize your mic was off, so perfect. Yeah, I like the Broncos at 10. It does 2 things. A, acknowledge what Sean just very eloquently said, and they have a tougher road than the Cardinals for the remainder of it, and I still feel like they're a better football team. It also does the best job of exposing EJ's lack of including the Vikings, because there's yet another team that he put in the top 10 reasonably, while also keeping the Vikings in his top 10. So, yeah, Janet Jackson, you're not looking very good leaving the Vikings off. You just got exposed again by Mikey the Bernier. I would also push back quickly on the fraud cons thing. Maybe that's true, Jim. If you look at their final 4 games, the Falcons, here's the thing. They close with Raiders, Giants, Red Tails, and Panthers.
That was easy.
Exactly my point. Carry on.
But will Coupon still be the quarterback? We'll see.
I don't know. Maybe Michael Penix leads some people.
Michael Penix Jr. did see his first action this week.
Yep, some Sunday.
Yeah. Any talks about Mike, Sean, and I all have the Cowboys in our bottom 5?
Because they belong there.
I think that really feels predictable for your list, Jim, right?
I mean, the sad thing is I actually moved them up 1 because the Jaguars fell further.
And like I said about the Eagles at 3 and some of these other teams, a lot of my list always comes into play. How are you playing right now? And I think where that roster is and where that team's been playing, there's nowhere else for them but the bottom 5 in my opinion.
Bing bong, bing bong bong. Yeah, I had the Cowboys at 28 last week. I left them there. I took Carolina out of my bottom 5 because I just think that even with as bad of a roster as that team has, they're playing better football than Cleveland and the Titans. And of course, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, student of the game, Kyle Nash.
No, sir. I play offensive line for that. Oh, wait. No, I don't. They'd be better protected. Moving on.
You may play quarterback for him by the end of the year at this rate. Because this guy
don't do that to my children.
Tony Mozzarella.
Yeah. This guy seems to think Drew Lock's even got a shot at playing a football game. Garbage.
He's saying that. Is he saying that Drew is a lock?
Drew Lock, right? Like either that or this is just organizational tanking. Like, I mean, it's one of the 2.
Tank for Shadur.
Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, my God, like it's just brutal.
So when they fire incorrectly named Coach of the Year Brian Daboll to sign Prime and draft Shadur,
Hold on, sir. I hate to interrupt you, but if you're going to go that way, do it correctly. You're going to pander for Sanders. Moving on.
Oh, I like that.
Good call. Good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen, right? Like we're all just in agreement in that at this point.
That they're going to pander for Sanders.
Like EJ gets what he deserves, or
I don't know. I think they might endure for Quentin Ewers. That's an option there.
Oh. So if it's
a lot of
maybe they're planning for Manning and going to draft the quarterback next year. How about that?
So what is the current what would be the current NFL draft order?
Giants 1.
The Jags are actually one, sir, and they're currently Travis Hunters, in case you're wondering.
So it's okay. So currently it would be Jacksonville, Tennessee, Cleveland, Giants, Raiders, Patriots, Jets, Panthers, Cowboys, Saints.
Man, the Cowboys have got to start losing fast if they're.
Yeah, well,
they're going to need to trade somebody. That's the only way they're getting there.
Put in Trey Lance.
That'll help.
No.
Wow.
So Jacksonville, because here's the thing. I like if Coach Prime is going to make the move to the NFL, which a lot of people speculate he may do when Shedeur gets drafted, it's not going to be Jacksonville, right? Because they have their quarterback. Not going to be Tennessee because right, wrong, or indifferent, they have a quarterback.
I wouldn't rule it out though.
I wouldn't rule out Tennessee.
But that being, I think Mike's correct. I think that's beneath Coach Prime.
Yeah, Coach Prime and Shedeur ain't playing in Tennessee. Let's be real.
It's not going to be Cleveland because
Nashville?
they're overpaying for a bad QB.
Facts.
So like the Giants would be like the first landing spot, right? If it's not the Giants, if they skewer you or whatever the hell you said,
endure for you.
Well, if he's going to New York,
going
to New York, he's going to get skewered.
Fair.
Then it would be Vegas, right?
Or the Jets.
Hey, listen, I pandered for Sanders to Las Vegas some time ago, gentlemen.
Yeah. I would not be surprised to see Vegas pay him and then trade up somehow. Like they'll use some like they'll trade
just to guarantee they get Shedeur.
Just to guarantee, like they'll be like, we will get you the pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if either New York team or the Raiders feel like the most logical landing spot for Shedeur and Prime.
Here's what I think is the problem with the Jets is I
like him in Dallas too.
Stop that. It is not. They can't
as like a former team. Like I don't know.
But the problem is,
as an Eagles fan.
But the problem is they're not going to be able to bring in Shedeur because of what they just paid Dak and what they have to pay if they want.
It's the same issue as the Browns. They're paying.
Yeah, like if they're going to want to keep Micah Parsons and Diggs and a couple other pieces, they're not going to be able to afford to bring in Shedeur Sanders.
Well, what about the other New York team?
That's what I was trying to say. I think the problem with the Jets is Sergeant Ayahuasca is just going to drag his feet too long for them to be able to pull the trigger on that.
See ya.
Are they paying him so much that they could? I mean, if Prime came in, could he draft Shedeur to play behind? I mean, how long's Rodgers really going to play?
It doesn't his contract expire?
I thought he has one more year.
I'm looking right now.
2 more years.
Yeah, he signed for way too long.
I thought it was only 2 years. I think corrected. Yeah. But listen, with the Cowboys, Jim, I have a feeling that you're going to get plenty of Genty. I think that's what's going to happen there. They need the running back.
Aaron Charles Rodgers is signed through the 2025 season. Okay. You can void his contract in 26. Okay. But even if you decide to release him after this season, it's $23 million cap hit, and they won't do. 49 of it is dead. But if you're gonna have
Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna get fired. They would work out a deal where he would I'm retiring, or I'm.
That's what I'm saying. If they just write him a check and go, hey, go away, so that fucking this shit doesn't count against us. Then they draft Shedeur and hire Prime. Yeah. That's still on the table.
I can't rule that out.
Yeah, I can't rule it out. I think
I personally don't hate the idea of Shedeur playing behind him or on the same team as him
for a year or two,
or whatever. Because
I'm
not ready for that jump.
Personally, I don't think a Rodgers Prime Shedeur relationship goes well at all.
There you go, Jim.
Yeah, I
drive Aaron Rodgers right into retirement.
That's a good point.
You just tell him we're hiring Dion.
Certainly, all of those are would be in play. All right, let's. Anything else on the power rank?
I didn't hear a reaction from Jen on
Dallas sucks.
Get plenty of Genty.
Here's the thing. I would love Genty there. The problem is, even he's not going to be able to do anything behind that line.
Well, and I was going to say, the real talk is what the Cowboys would be wise to do is trade back, bolster the line in round one, and get Genty if he falls back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to fall far enough if you do that. The Cowboys really need to retool the offensive line. I mean, Zach Martin looks like he could potentially be done for the. I don't know if it's for the year. He got banged up last night. his career is probably over. It's just an aged and bad offensive line. Like, here's the thing. I don't want that for Austin Gentry. Like, I would love to have him in Dallas, but it's going to be such a bad start to a career that it's, I don't want to see a good player have to suffer through that personally.
I hear you telling me I hope that Harbaugh gets plenty of Gentry in the first round. That's what I hear you telling me.
Dude, I'm here for it. I got the hat. I got the hat to show it.